All right, Sultai Vow. Sultai, for those new to Magic, refers to the color combination of blue, black, and green. Vow here in the deck name refers to this card, Kamahl's Druidic Vow. Look at the top X cards of your library. You may put any number of lands and or legendary permanents with converted mana cost X or less from among them onto the battlefield. Put the rest into your graveyard. So the idea behind this deck is truly adorable. What we're looking to do is get a bunch of mana in play with a legendary card so we can cast this. And then we cast Kamahl's Druidic Vow for a bunch. And ideally, we find both Jace, Wielder of Mysteries, and a God-Eternal Bontu, and then we'll have enough permanence to sacrifice with our God-Eternal Bontu trigger to win with Jace's alt text, is the idea. So, ramp up, cast Druidic Vow, flip over a big chunk of our deck, grab these two, draw out the remainder of our deck, win with Jace. There's also, there's a couple of Field of the Dead in here as an alternative plan. We've got some Nissa and some Golos in here. That's a good one. Yeah, legendary spells you can only cast if you control a legendary creature or planeswalker. This deck is definitely sweet. Let's dive on into some historic matches here with this and see how it goes. We've got a good, interesting lineup today. I'm not sure how successful some of these decks will be, but we'll go into it with a little bit of optimism and see where we end up at. Yeah, we played this archetype a number of times on this channel when it was in Standard 2. It was okay there. Popped off with some consistency. If you actually read the updates, Socio Penguin, it's a 2-hour patch window with no expected downtime. And their last 3 or 4 patches now have been successful with no downtime. So unless something is different and changes from what's happened the last few times, I keep track of, this is my job, I keep track of when updates are scheduled to make sure that ideally I'm going to be able to do my job and my schedule works. Not looking for a 7th land at this point. Would love to draw some ramp spells so we can get our lands into play a little bit ahead of time. Get Druidic Vow going potentially. Grixis, Warboss, and Bone Crusher. Okay, so the little bit aggressive Grixis. Kind of like it. Grixis tends to not be a very good control color, so making it more aggressive is probably pretty good. Hey, thanks for the 3rd of a year free smackies. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. So I assume we're going to lose Nissa here. You almost added Grazer. Maybe. I don't know. We'll see how Spiral and Uro do. I like that Spiral and Uro draw us cards. And it's not like Grazer would exactly be doing us any favors in this particular spot. So we'll take 5 here. We'll Growth Spiral. Ideally, we're going to find an untapped land in our next 2 draws, and we'll get to Vow for 5 next turn, and if we get a little bit lucky, we could be okay. Okay, so they're stomping that, which they actually don't get the Bone Crusher because Fblthp runs away, but now I don't have a legendary creature for Vow anymore. So we found the land we wanted, but we no longer have a creature for Vow, so we're probably dead here. This is attacking for 7. It would not, sir. So the requirement for Vow is you have to have the legendary creature to cast it, not when it resolves. Massacre Girl and Enter the God-Eternal seems good. Legion End awkwardly not lining up into the threats this opponent is playing for us. Yes, it's not like an intervening if clause. Legendary sorceries don't check when they cast and when they resolve. Only stipulative on casting. Yeah, that's a good suggestion. Pulse over Legion's End sounds good. Reprint to Balt, thanks for 32 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. I feel like this is probably a little redundant too. I'm not sure I need Unmoored Ego and Questing Beast. How do you tell if a card checks on cat? If it has the word if in it, intervening if clause is what tells you that it needs to do both. I'm gonna just trim Tamiyo here. I'm gonna search for Azcanta. It's probably a little bit slow. Right, hoping to draw some lands here. What does FP stand for, Z-Power? Hey, Midnight Slayer, thank you and welcome. I appreciate that. I've learned over the last week that a lot of people don't know that there's a unique, and maybe it's different because my incognito definitely does not show me up on the front page right now. I just took a peek at it. I think I'm actually gonna make Field of the Dead a 3/3 here because if they kill my lands, Field of the Dead's gonna be useless anyways, and I'd rather keep all of my colors. It's a good draw. Can we do the thing? 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9. So we can do this for 7. Tilt. Counter spells. Feels bad, man. Hawabaji, thank you for the third of a year. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. Should have done it for one to play around Stroke with the real technology. Do you want to trade Nickel for Nissa? Probably. They must have just drawn this, right? Because if they didn't just draw this, they wouldn't have Bone Crusher Gianted my Nissa. Actually in a pretty okay spot here, just because, like, Nissa made some dorks. If they play the Bone Crusher Giant, we get to enter the God-Eternal Zit, make a 4/4, gain some life. Important to note when you're playing cards like Enter the God-Eternals, you play this with the intention of milling yourself. You don't want to mill your opponent and then randomly have them have some graveyard interaction. They could have escape cards or something like that. Our deck also wins the game via Jace's alt tech, so milling ourselves for 4 has value, and we have Uros in our deck that we could mill into. Do we want some Ashiok? Maybe. I'm going to revisit the sideboard after this. I definitely think we don't need Questing Beast in there. I get that it's legendary, but it seems unnecessary. Or if we want Questing Beast, we probably don't want Ego. Yeah, opponent being a Grixis control deck this game with their draw and really kind of highlighting why Grixis control isn't very good. Yeah, pretty easy mulligan here. Again, when you're playing against an opponent that's playing discard spells, any hand that has lands and spells is generally a keep. Because if you mulligan for better spells, your opponent's just going to pick your hand apart anyways. So you just want to, like, something close to functional. Untapped land that doesn't hurt us here is excellent. We'll get to Growth Spiral into Uro, it looks like. And then if they do have a Legion War Boss this game, like what beat us in the first game, we've got Massacre Girl to clean that up. Duress. Yeah, I'm going to make him take Jace here. Play my ramp spell. I mean, I believe that, like, especially when if you're logged into Twitch and you see me on the front page, that's definitely the case because Twitch tailors front page content for people when they're logged in based on, like, their viewing history. You just type Twitch into the address bar and it defaults to your channel. God bless. Yeah. Yeah, if we got Eternal Bontu, we could feed Uro a little bit, potentially. Field of the Dead might win us this game. One of the things to keep track of when we play this is how many games, if any, do we win with Druidic Vow, and how many do we win on the back of Golos and or Nissa. So far it's looking like... That's probably the case in most situations. Up to 4 cards in the bin. Uro takes 5 cards to escape, so we need 6 total in the bin because he's currently in the bin. I mean, if they don't have another counterspell, we are going to get to Vow next turn for 5. I think I want to just do this. We had a couple of choices here. I could Massacre Girl. But I think I'd rather just play this out. Yeah, Vow hits lands and legendaries, so. Okay, so we get to just like cast a huge Vow next turn. I'm doing Spell of Mega King. All right, 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So we get to do 9 here. I'll keep the new Nissa. I'll keep a Bontu. We get a bunch of Field of the Dead triggers. Oh, and then you get to sack the zombies to God-Eternal Bontu. That's so good. I don't know if it's actually good, but it's definitely great. You get to sacking the zombies to Bontu's kind of delicious. Sideboard, good call. Look at that. Upside to slightly longer queue times. The cancel button's functional. Let's do this for now. I thought when you cancel it, auto pairs you. To be fair, part of that issue is because the queue times are quick. I don't really think I need an Ashiok. There isn't that much Breach. I can't tell you the last time we played against Breach, he says before he queues into Breach moments before the accident. I think we mulligan this on the draw. Just doesn't do anything for too long. This is fine. Might even be too slow here. Still, but the first hand was definitely too slow against mono red, so glad I mulliganed. Morning, Phoenix. Okay, so that's actually a decent draw because it's a land I don't already have. I think the plan here is Murderous Rider this inside of combat, untapped land that doesn't hurt us, Golos for a Field of the Dead. We're going to take 7 total this turn, so probably a good chance that we're still dead. Because we're going to 6, and they're going to have 6 power in play total. Massacre Girl is unfortunately in our sideboard, so definitely coming in here, but not an out we can draw right now. I mean, I'm not dead on board, right? Dead to a Stiff Breeze, dead to the Firebrand next turn on board. If we need to be 2 higher. Unfortunately, we are not. Mono red, still very good. Couple of Massacre Girls, couple of God Pharaohs, couple of Maelstrom Pulses. Tamiyo doesn't impact the board, so she's a trim. Search doesn't impact the board. Probably want to get rid of some of my top end here. It's probably just Nissa, huh? I think that's the trim. Should have played Murderous Rider instead of Golos. Yeah, I guess that's fair. I don't know. I guess they didn't have a 3 damage spell. The problem with Murderous Rider is like, even, I guess we were dead to a 2 or 3 damage spell regardless there. I don't know, that's probably the better line. Because like, the Golos line left us dead to a 2 or 3 mana spell, so like we were dead to a 2 or 3 mana spell either way, is the way to look at it. And if we're dead to it either way, we'd rather stabilize at a higher life total. Light them up. Nope. Alright. Land? Okay. I think we just need to get rid of Steamkin here. Worth noting that had Pulse been Legion's End here, Legion's End wouldn't have cost us 2 life to play. Just things to think about. So Pulse is the more flexible card, but it's really worse in aggro matchups like this. Pulse was a very good addition to the format overall. Just still not amazing in matchups like this. We're just dead, right? It's not close. Our deck's just like too slow. Yes, dude. Dead this turn, actually. Actually just taking 16 from the headaches. I was conceding. We were dead before the cleave happened. When the cleave happened, we were literally dead. I really hope we see Wizards of the Coast lean into embracing Historic over the course of the next year. Like, I hope once we get Jumpstart and Amonkhet remastered and stuff like that, that, like, when they get back on track to start holding large arena tournaments again, once we're in a, you know, post-COVID society, we will hopefully see some of them be historic and not just all standard. Just found out all troop movement in and out of the U.S. has been stopped for at least another 60 days. That's for the best. Feel for the people stuck away from their families, though. And here I thought everything was gonna be open by Easter, chat. Are you telling me the big orange bigot in the White House lied to me? It sounds like that's what you're telling me, chat. And I don't know if I believe that glorious leader would lie to me. He would never. It was gonna be an Easter miracle. What do I think of the stimulus package? I haven't seen the full details of it yet. I will say that it should tell every reasonable adult in the United States should know everything they could possibly need to know about the GOP when you learn that the GOP blocked an amendment that would pause credit reporting for the next short amount of time. That was the big thing that jumped out to me, that like any party during this time could oppose. That's like, I know they're evil, but like that's like an especially, like it's just such a simple, easy thing to do. think I'm blocking here to keep Tamiyo alive for a turn. She's gonna fill my bin up enough to escape Uro, which is ideal. Unfortunate that I have to play Breeding Pool here, which is a land I already have in play, though. I think I'm just plussing naming Nissa again here.
I think you will find my notes helpful.
Okay, with Nissa drawn, do I Nissa? I think I Nissa plus attack for 3 and then Growth Spiral this turn.
This land, we are all connected. The land fights for us.
So I have to decide which of my 2 people they would like to attack. Hey, thanks for the 7 months, Sarnox. Just read the news that the R's were afraid of people getting more. That were afraid of people getting more money from employment than working a bit of a wage job. That maybe it's time. Yep, you're not wrong. Been long overdue for an unemployment increase. Or for our minimum wage increase, sorry. So, the credit reporting thing isn't a huge... The credit reporting thing basically says the only reason to oppose that, the only reason to oppose a pause on credit reporting is if you think people who are negatively impacted financially by this should have extra long-lasting detrimental effects from being negatively impacted by it. Pausing credit reporting literally, oh, I should just vow, right? Yeah, totally should just vow. Pausing credit reporting literally doesn't cost them things. It just removes a penalty that poor people experience for being poor. It is peak GOP, essentially. 1, 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. We do this for 9. It's something that could have very easily have been done without actually costing them more money. Is the TLDR.
We will prevail.
Well, you know, sick. Vow making a bunch of zombies is kind of great. Where do people stand on takeout? I'm of the opinion that it's currently, if you are physically able to get to a grocery store and prepare your own food, you are being irresponsible, in my opinion, by getting takeout in the current environment. Every time you leave your house or have other people leave their house, there's risks of contact and spreading things. And getting takeout means you're risking contact for 1 or 2 meals, whereas going to the grocery store means you're risking contact for a week's worth of meals or more in some cases. If you want to support local businesses, you should buy gift cards. You're also patronizing restaurants is also encouraging them to keep employees working that aren't essential. Like, restaurants aren't essential in most places. If you don't live in a food desert, a restaurant is not an essential service. It just isn't. I believe, was it the UK Was it the UK that closed all restaurants for 3 weeks, I think it was? Or was it somewhere else in Europe? The world is ending, but at least Prime isn't. There's gonna be a world, I promise. The world's not over, it's just changing. It was the UK, yep. Netherlands and UK both closed restaurants. Good, see, they get it. They get it. South Africa is closing everything that isn't a grocery store. Yeah, grocery stores, pharmacies, emergency services. Those are the big 3 things that should stay open. Hospitals. Hospitals count as emergency services, right? Yep, in for land at this point. Gas stations, sure. Yeah, gas stations I think can qualify as essential services. Because people who are providing essential services need to fuel their vehicles. Space Herring, I think I missed them. Thank you for the 100 biddies. Ooh. What do the capital city of Finland and Diamond 4 rank floor have in common? It's functionally impossible to enter or leave for the next 3 weeks. Are we dead? I think we've died. There are no known cases of infection via surfaces. That is incorrect. The virus lives on surfaces. Part of the reason why this spreads is because the virus lives on surfaces for varying degrees of time, depending on what the surface is made of. That's just, there is a number of notes about that. It can live on surfaces for up to 3 days in some cases. That's part of the reason why this has spread so much and why people are telling you to wash your hands. Cardboard, plastic, paper, like. And again, just so people understand the severity, someone can have no symptoms and have COVID and be spreading it to you. The person preparing your food could have COVID and not have a fever, not have a cough, and be transmitting it. There is risk associated with every bit of outside contact. Everything that you do has some risk associated with it right now. And the goal is to minimize your number of contact points to minimize the spread. I'm gonna hold on to this pulse, right? We're just gonna Golos them next turn, or Massacre Girl them next turn. Hopefully we don't get, if they hit us with a discard spell, we get punished, but I think it's right to just wait and Massacre Girl them. Well, you know, that's fine. We can pulse them next turn. And again, one of the things why it's so important to, like, if you can stay home, is because there are a lot of people out there providing emergency services that we really need to be able to get in and out, like, and minimize their risk. Like, medical professionals are risking their lives to do their jobs. And if you're taking extra time to go out, you're putting those medical professionals in additional risk that you don't have to just because you want to go do something that's optional. Be responsible, stay home. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 differently named lands. So if I Golos next turn, I think I'm going to bottom this because I guess it's the 3rd blue for Jace. Yeah, let's do that. Yeah, we do have 2 in play. Yeah, so I have 4. This would be 5. Golos is 6. It's probably dead to that. It is very selfish. I'm aware of what the FDA page says. And we're dead. I think this deck is probably too slow and clunky. We're gonna give it one or two more shakes here, but not linear enough, not interactive enough is probably an apt descriptor of what this is doing. We've gotten to flip the thing out a couple of times, even if it hasn't been a full combo. Honestly, Druidic Vow with Field of the Dead has felt pretty okay in a lot of situations, but like the Jace Bontu part of the deck has felt pretty bad and kind of unnecessary. At that point, you're just like veering into bad Yarok Field, though, Rutherford. Yeah, like I think like the changes that you make to make this reasonable just end up you being a worse version of something else. The problem with Vow plus Field and a more controlling shell is because Vow is legendary, you have to figure out what are reasonable planeswalkers and legendary creatures you can play to like cast this card consistently. I'm not sure that you can build the deck super differently and still be able to cast Druidic Vow consistently. Tell Declan to be courteous to the discussion forums. Remote learning doesn't really work for 4 and 5-year-olds. Christy and I are doing stuff with them at home. Like I said, part of the reason why I'm taking off Tuesdays and Fridays is so I can do stuff with them during the week, and then Christy's doing stuff with them on Saturdays and Sundays. And then on the other days when we're both doing work, they're half in and out, mostly playing games and watching TV. It's like they get 3 days a weekend now.
I will protect the virtue of this world. Be wary of the ground you walk on.
Okay, if they don't kill Nissa, we get to Vow for a bunch next turn. Doldy, thank you for the entire year of support. Let's get your sword to go with that shield. Thanks for keeping me around. Feels bad, man. Shuffler confirmed broken. Thanks for the 15 months. I love the meta usernames in Hoaglandia. They're great. We have a few of them at this point. Can't you just buy it as a download? Or does it have like a physical component that goes with it, Philly? Win Magus, thanks for the 10 months. TCD, thanks for the quarter of a year. Welcome back. I appreciate the Bezo bucks. So Ego sounds great here. Maelstrom Pulse sounds great here. Remorse may or may not be good. Murderous Rider, don't really need point removal, I don't think. Is Nissa trim? Maybe it's just Nissa. She'll just get attacked down most of the time. Although maybe Tamiyo gets attacked down slightly more. Probably. I'd assume most Trump's approval ratings are up because he's on TV more now talking to people, and most people don't believe that the President of the United States would get on television and bold-faced lie to them. I would love a land. Thank you. I usually expect subtle lies. Yeah. Yeah, Trump's a different breed. Like a good example of a more traditional politician is like Joe Biden deflecting the question about his votes on Social Security in the last debate with Bernie. He didn't out and out lie about it, his record, but he sidestepped the question in a very strategic, technically I didn't lie way, which is still scummy. Which is still scummy, but it's different than the bold-faced direct lies that Trump is known to tell. What are your thoughts? I have no idea. Thoughts on going to blood drives is something I feel like you need to be a qualified medical professional to speak on. Don't take medical advice from an idiot streaming children's card games on twitch.tv, chat. Take suggestions from me to go read more information from other qualified people for yourselves, though. Definitely do that. But you should not act on anything I say directly here. You should inform yourself and go out and learn from people who are much more qualified and smart than I am. Maybe I'm supposed to growth spiral there instead of Fblthp. Just because it would ramp me and I have Vow in hand? That's probably what I'm supposed to do. The first step to knowing a little bit about something is realizing how much you don't know about most things. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This is 8. I could Vow for 6 here. I think I'm just going to Ego. think I'm just going to ego, and then we'll double growth spiral. We're probably going to escape shift in response here. Circuitous route, sure. Maget, thanks for the 13 months. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. I think I'm just naming Scape Shift. They already have 2 Fields of the Dead in play. I think I just want to stop them from full-on comboing me. They're just not playing Scape Shift. Okay, that's good to know. They have a Nexus of Fate, a couple of Agent of Treacheries, a couple of Shatters. Oh, that's not the one I want. Let's growth spiral a couple of times. We're doing this now because we're currently playing Hearthstone. Okay. All right. That bodes well for Hero. Okay, that's a bunch of zombies here. But I'm gonna get to blow some zombies away. I don't know, jokes about non-life-threatening things are probably fine. Like, making jokes about toilet paper shortages, like, no one should be dying from a toilet paper shortage, right? You're stuck in your home, you can take a shower. You know, you're gonna survive without toilet paper. It'll be uncomfortable and awkward, but you're gonna survive. I think I'm bidding this and just looking for a land. So I have a Jace in my deck still and a Bontu. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Wow, did we actually just get all of them? Did it actually just all 9? That's great. I need to look here. How many of these do I need to pay for? I need to pay life for 2 of these so I can Maelstrom Pulse. Oh, actually, I have Nissa coming, right? So I just need to pay for 1. I want to pay for an Overgrown Tomb so I can make green and black. Okay, and then honestly, I think I just Maelstrom Pulse the zombies here, right? I have 7 to their 11. Yeah, I'm aware I lose my zombies too, but I just have to survive for a turn, chat. And I get to kill their Teferi here too. Because like if we survive a turn, I get to kill them with Druidic Vow next turn, right? Multi-kill. Oh, Quake. We have 2 Jaces left in our deck. Oh, multi-kill was Unreal Tournament. You're right. Which of my friends would you like? Yep. Exile the Jace to Uro. I did not. There's one Jace in my bin. I have 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Which is actually enough. I'm going to have 15 cards in my deck after my draw step. They Crisis for X is 0 because they have... They hit it off of Golos. They just want it in their bin. And we're dead. They hit Nexus of Fate, for people wondering. Things your local supermarket was missing in the UK: toilet paper, hand sanitizer, pasta, canned beans and vegetables, frozen meat, and vegetarian substitutes. And since they closed the bars on Friday, beer has been raided as well. The UK very recently went into lockdown, though, right? Like, super recently?
Rise, my elemental friend.
Went to lockdown on Monday. Yeah, so there's going to be an initial... That happened in most places in the U.S. is there's an initial rush when lockdown first happens. And then my understanding is supply chains are still open and places are recovering appropriately and restocking what they need to restock that people need for the most part.
Don't make another move. I'll protect you.
If we get a turn, we get to win the game with Druidic Vow. Oh, they have an extra turn, don't they? They still have another turn in the bank? I think they have another turn in the bank, right? Yeah, never mind. I'm gonna be done with this one. This is an archetype that struggled when it was in standard to be fast enough and linear enough. And it's just not competitive here. The games that we were winning with this deck, we were mostly winning because Field of the Dead and Nissa are good cards. Notably, something to mention is that Druidic Vow felt reasonable on its own. And the parts of this deck that felt notably extra clunky and bad was Jace and Bontu. These just like aren't really individually constructed playable cards for the most part. Vow kind of felt like a reasonable ramp spell, and maybe there's a blue-green field deck in this format that like plays Fblthp, Uro, Tamiyo, Nissa, Golos, and like plays a couple of Druidic Vow to go way over the top, potentially. The question to ask yourself in that instance, though, is this better than other go-over-the-top options like Agent or Treachery? But on the whole, playing this many 4 and 5 drops that aren't really particularly good felt bad. Yeah, I think I'd do a build around for Vow and Field. I think that's something I'd accept and might be worth exploring. There might be something there that's not just a bad version of something else. Is Vow better than Nexus? Yeah, so another question to ask. Like, I think 4 is probably too many, but like 2 to 3 at the top end, like you can get to like, when you can cast this for 5, it does reasonable things a lot of the time, it feels like. I don't know. All right, what are we doing? We have A ton of historic coming up here today. We're having a longer stream, and the remainder is going to be all historic. Up next, we have a build-around submission here for Tezzeret, Master of the Bridge, and I'm going to walk you through some Karn the Great Creator shenanigans with Guardians when we get back. I'm going to quick ad roll while I get everything flipped over and get the client restarted. We'll be back in just a few minutes. Thanks for hanging out today, folks. Don't go anywhere.